Today we are going to discuss about the mathematics which is related with the cryptography, and we are discussing the first part of that, in which we will be discussing the prime numbers. Uh, in cryptography, prime numbers are used very often. In many algorithm which is used in cryptography, prime numbers are the most important part. So related to the prime number, we know that what is the prime number, but the main thing is that we want to know that if there is a number, whether that number is a prime number or not, as well as how to generate the prime number. So there are two different issues on which we will be discussing with the different algorithm and the methods. But before going to that, there are certain prerequisites, and we must know what is prime number. So as we know that any positive integer can be called as a prime number if it is divisible by two distinct number. The first number is the 1 and another number is itself. These two distinct number, with the help of that, if any number is divisible by either 1 as well as by itself, that number will be called as a prime number. So that is why, as the definition says, that it has to be divisible by two distinct number, that is 1 and itself, and that is why 1 is not a prime number. 1 is not a prime number, and the minimum prime number, which is known as, it is 2. Why it is so? 2 is minimum prime number or the smallest prime number because the 2 is divisible by 1 as well as 2 is divisible by 2. But what about 1? 1 is divisible by 1 as well as it is divisible by 1. So these two numbers are not distinct, and that is why 1 is not a prime number, but 2 is a prime number because it is divisible by 1 as well as 2. So the definition of prime number is, it is very clear cut, that you have to ensure yourself that it has to be divisible by only two distinct number, that is 1 and the number itself. Then we have coprime. Now, as far as the coprimes are concerned, two positive integers a and b. There are two positive integers a and b, and these two numbers will be called prime of relatively prime to each other, or these two numbers are called coprime number if the GCD of AB is equal to 1. So meaning thereby the greatest common divisor of two number, if it is 1, then in that case we can say A and B are coprime number, or you can say that A and B are relatively prime. As we know that we have already discussed in the previous video that about the set of integers, we have Zn, then we have Zn star. We have already discussed all about that. Z is a set of integer including negative number, 0 as well as positive number. Zn is a kind of where n is working as a modulus. So Zn is a subset of Z as well as contains only the numbers which is from 0 to n minus 1. And this Zn star is a special category of Zn. Of course, Zn star is a subset of Zn. Zn is a subset of Z. So of course, Zn star is also a subset of Z. But the property of the Zn star set says that it includes all those elements which has its multiplicative inverse. It includes all those elements which are relatively prime to n. And that is why if I say Zn Z7 star, the number of elements which is contained by Zn is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So whatever is the content of Zn star, that is Z7 star, all these numbers are relatively prime to this modulus value. So 7 and 1 is a coprime, 7 and 2 is coprime, 7 and 3 is coprime, 7 is coprime. So you can say that with the example of coprime number, all the elements of Zn star are coprime of the modulus value. Now, next is checking the primeness. So we have a conventional method by which if any number is given and it is asked to find out whether that number is a prime number or not, the conventional method, of course, the conventional method is not sufficient, it's inefficient, but even though, let us know what is that method. Suppose we want to check the primeness of 97, whether 97 is a prime number or not. So what we do, the conventional method says that we try to find out the square root of 97. Of course, 97 is not a perfect square, so we will not get the value itself. But what we do, we will try to find out which number is less than 97 and is a perfect square. Of course, that number is 81. So if it is 81, we take the square root of 81 and we get square root of 81 as 9. So what we will do, all the numbers which are less than 9 and are prime numbers, what are those numbers? 2, 3, 5 and 7. These are the 4 numbers which are prime numbers as well as less than 9. Then what we do, with the help of this particular set, that is 2, 3, 5, 7, we try to check with the help of divisibility algorithm, we try to check whether these numbers are able to divide 97 or not. If these 4 numbers are not able to divide 97, we declare that 97 is a prime number. Otherwise, it's a composite number. But this method is inefficient because in cryptography, what we try to do, we have to generate a particular number and then we have to check whether that number is a prime number or not. So what we will do, and in cryptography, whatever number is being used as a prime number is very large. So if the number is very large, to get the square root of that and then to find many numbers and then to check, so it's a very tedious process. So we avoid, that is why this method of checking the primeness is inefficient. So we will later on we will see that what are the methods by which we can do it. But before going to that, there are some more prerequisites which has to be we must know before we go into the detail of the prime numbers. The next one is the Euler's phi function. Represented as phi n. Now, this phi n is also called Euler's totient function. It is also called totient function, and the purpose of this phi function or the totient function is to obtain the number of the elements which are available in a particular set, especially the set which is called Zn star, which contains only those numbers which are subset of Zn, only those numbers which has the multiplicative inverse as well as co-prime to this modulus value. Just to find out that how many elements will be there in a particular set, in case of Zn star, we can use this phi function. So how it is being used? There are 4 particular aspects of Euler's phi function, with the help of which we will be calculating the total number of the elements present in a particular set. And the first one is phi 1, and that is equal to 0. The second one is phi p, where p is the prime number, so it is p minus 1, considering that p is prime. Third one is phi m into n, that is equal to phi m into phi n. Where m and n are relatively prime to n. So this is the third postulate, The fourth one is phi p to the power e is equal to p to the power e minus p to the power e minus 1, considering that p is a prime. So these four postulates are used for obtaining the number of elements present in a particular set. The first one is phi 1 is equal to 0, phi p is equal to p minus 1, phi m into n is equal to phi m into phi n, where m and n are the relatively prime, and phi p to the power e is equal to p to the power e minus p to the power e minus 1, where p is prime number. So let us go with certain example and then check it. Now the first example, suppose we have to obtain the value of phi 13. So whenever we have to obtain the phi 13, so since we know that 13 is a prime number, so we will apply the second one. So this will be equal to 13 minus 1, that is equal to 12. Let us go for another example. Suppose we want to obtain the value of phi 10. So phi 10, you can do this by phi into 2. So you can find it that phi 5 into phi 2. Now phi 5 is a prime number, so it will be 4. 2 is a prime number, it will equal 1. So number of the elements in that particular set is Z10 star, that will be equal to 4. The third example is suppose phi 240. So phi 240 can be, you can make the divisors of 240. So you can write it like this: phi 2 to the power 5 into 2 to the power 4 into 3 to the power 1 into 5 to the power 1. So this will be equal to phi 2 to the power 4 into phi 3 to the power 1 into phi 5 to the power 1. So phi 2 to the power 4 will be equal to, with the application of this fourth one, 2 to the power 4 minus 2 to the power 4 minus 1 multiplied by 3 to the power 1 will be equal to 3 to the power 1 minus 3 to the power 0. So that will be equal to 2. 5 to the power 1, 5 to the power 1 minus 5 to the power 0. So it will be equal to 4. So the value which you will be getting, that will be equal to 64. That is coming around 64. Let us go with another example. Suppose we have to find out the value of phi 49. Now we know that 49 is not a prime number, it's a composite number. So you can consider this as phi 7 into phi 7. And so you will be getting 6 into 6, that is 36, but this is wrong. Why this is wrong? Because these two numbers must be relatively prime. It should be co-prime. But if we take the GCD of 7, 7, you will be getting 7. So this answer is wrong. So how we will be solving this? 49, you can consider it as a 7 square. And so it will be equal to 7 square minus 7 1, that is 2 minus 1. So it is 49 minus 7, that is equal to 42. This is the correct answer. So while applying to find out the torsion function, you have to be very careful, and of course you will be applying the four postulates of calculating the torsion function, but you have to be very sure that whatever postulates you are going to apply, whether it is correct or not. Now the next one. So the next is theorem, that is Fermat's Little theorem. What this says, it has two versions, and the first version says that First version says that if P is prime and A is an integer, if P is prime and A is an integer and P does not divide A, P is not able to divide A, then A to the power P minus 1 is congruent to 1 mod n. Sorry, not n, it is P. And the second version says that second version is an improvement of the first version in which P is prime and A is an integer, and skipping the condition whether P is able to divide A or not. And in that case, then A to the power P is congruent to A mod P. So, meaning thereby, if we have to find out the exponential value, you have to find out the value of A to the power P minus 1. So, suppose P is a prime number and A is an integer and P does not divide A, then in that case we will apply the first version of Fermat's theorem. And so, the solution is A to the power P minus 1 is equal to 1 mod P. But second version skips this particular restriction which has been imposed on the first version, that P is not divisible by A. It may be possible that if P is dividing A, then in that case A to the power P will be equal to A mod P. So, for example, let us take an example of that. Okay, find 6 to the power 10 mod 11. So, normally if we don't know this particular theorem, then how we will going to solve 6 to the power 10 mod 11? What we will do? We will multiply 6 10 times and then we divide that number by 11, and whatever is the remainder, that value will be obtained as. But if we know these two theorem, we can solve this particular example very easily. How? Now this is a prime number, so P is 11. And what is the value of A? A is 6. So, first version can be applied because 11 is not going to divide 6. If 11 is not going to divide 6, then it means A to the power P minus 1, meaning thereby A to the power 11 minus 1, that is 6 to the power 10 mod 11, that will be equal to 1 mod 11. This is the answer. Even though if you try to solve this particular question by conventional method, multiplying 6 10 times and then dividing it by 11, you will be getting 1. But since the theorem says that since the prime number is not going to divide the value of integer, then it means 6 to the power 11 minus 1. By applying this particular thing, that is A to the power P minus 1 will be equal to 1 mod P. So, 6 to the power 11 minus 1, that is 6 to the power 10, that is what we have to obtain. So, 6 to the power 10 mod 11 will be equal to 1 mod 11. Now, let us take another example. Three to the power 12 mod 11. Suppose you have to solve this one. So, you can write it in this way: 3 to the power 11 into 3 mod 11. So, this will be equal to 3 to the power 11 mod 11 into 3 mod 11. Now, 3 to the power 11 mod 11, you can apply the second version. You know that A to the power P is equal to A mod P. So, it means this will be equal to 3 mod 11 and this is equal to 3 mod 11, and we know 3 mod 11 is 3 and 3 mod 11 is 3. So, the value is 9. So, with the application of these two versions of Fermat's Little theorem, you can solve the equation whether the value of the exponentiation is less than the prime number or the value of exponentiation is more than the prime number. Even though you can do it if it is 3 to the power 13 You can solve it very easily. Why? Instead of multiplying 3 13 times, what you have to do? You have to take it 3 to the power 11 and 3 square, and then 3 square will be here. So what it will be? 3 to the power 11 mod 11 3 square. So what will be the result? The result will be very simple. It will be 3 into 3 to the power 3 square is 9 mod 11. Now 9 threes are 27, 27 mod 11. So 11, 22, the result will be, answer will be 5. So this way you can apply the Fermat's little theorem to solve this kind of exponentiation function. एक मिनट pause करना. The multiplicative inverse. We have already discussed to find out the multiplicative inverse with the help of extended Euclidean theorem, but with the help of this Fermat's theorem we can find out the multiplicative inverse. And how to find out? If P is prime and A is an integer and P does not divide A, then A to the power A inverse is equal, A inverse mod P is equal to A to the power P minus 2 mod P. A to the power P minus 2 mod P. So let us take an example and try to solve it. The first example is, suppose find inverse of 8 in mod 17. Mod value is 17 and you have to find out the inverse of 8. So how we will getting, if we apply this particular formula, that A inverse mod P is equal to A to the power P minus 2 mod P. So that will be equal to A to the power P. P is 17 minus 2 mod P. That is A to the power 15 mod P. Mod P is 17. So it will be 17. Now 8 to the power 5 mod 17, how to find out 8 to the power 15 mod 17? So we cannot apply Fermat's theorem, because Fermat's theorem can be applied if the exponential power is more or similar or 1 less. Here the exponential power is 2 less of 17. So we have to adopt the conventional method, and with the help of conventional method we can solve this. That we know 8 mod 17 is equal to 8. Then let us go 8 square mod 17. Let us find out 8 square. 8 square is equal to 64. 64, 17. That will be coming around 30. So it is equal to 30. 8 to the power 4 mod 17. That will be equal to 8 to the power 4 means 13 square. 13 square is 169. 169 divided by 17. So it will go 9 times. So the resultant will be 16. So it will be equal to 16. So 8 to the power 8. Let us go and find out 8 to the power 8 mod 17. 8 to the power 8 means 16 square. 16 square means 256. 256, 17. So divide here. 17, 1 time. 1. So 8 to the power 8 is equal to 1. Now, why we have obtained 8 and 8 square and 8 to the power 4 and 8 to the power 8? Because we want to calculate 8 to the power 15. Now this 8 to the power 15 you can find out 8 plus 4, 12 plus 2, 14 plus 1. So what we can do, we can divide it 8 into 8 square into 8 to the power 4 into 8 to the power 8 mod 17. So what is the value of 8 mod 17? that is equal to 8. What is the value of 8 square mod 17? That is equal to 13. What is the value of 8 to the power 4? It is 16. Then what is the value of 8 to the power 8? It is 1 mod 17. So let us first multiply these two. 3 into 13 into 8, 24, and 13 8 is 104, and then we'll divide by 17. So it will go 2 times. So it means this will be equal to 2 into 16 into 1 mod 17. So it means it is 32 mod 17. So the answer is 50. So the inverse of 8 with the modulus value 17 is equal to 50. Now similarly you can solve another example. Another example, suppose we have to find out 5 inverse mod 23. How to solve it? So 5 inverse mod 23 will be equal to 5 to the power 23 minus 2 mod 23. That is equal to 5 to the power 21 mod 23. So you can do it directly by writing 5 to the power 21. It means 5 has to be multiplied 21 times. But instead of that, if I say it is 5 square, 5 square, 5 square, 5 square 10 times multiplied by 5 mod 23. Why we have done it? Because we know 5 square is 25. If it is 25 and we take mod 3, the value will be coming 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 10 times. So 2 is multiplied 10 times. What will be the value? So what we can do? 2 to the power 5 into 2 to the power 5. That is 2 to the power 10 into 5 mod 23. So 2 to the power 5 is 32 into 32 into 5 mod 23. Now if you take 32 mod 23, you will be getting 9. You will be getting 9 into 5. So this is how you can reduce it. And now it is 9 5s are 45. If it is 45 and if divided by 23, you will be getting 22 because it will be going only one time. So it will be 22. So 9 into 22 mod 23. Now then we have 198 mod 23. So 198 mod 23 will be going 7 times, 8 times. So it will be coming 14. So the inverse of 5 in modulus 23 is 14. So this is how, with the help of Fermat's theorem, you can find out the multiplicative inverse of a given integer with certain modulus value. Now the next one is the Euler's theorem. Now what the Euler's theorem says, the Fermat's theorem is applied if the modulus value is prime. But if the modulus value is not prime, we cannot apply the Fermat's theorem. So in that case, we have to apply the Euler's theorem. So Fermat's theorem are being applied in case of prime number if the modulus is prime, and Euler's theorem is applied when the modulus value is composite number. So the Euler's theorem says that the first one is if A and N are co-prime, then a to the power phi n is equal to 1 mod n. And second one is it removes the above condition that a and n are co-prime. If n is equal to p into q, it means n is a composite number and a is less than n and k is an integer. Then a to the power k into phi n plus 1, that will be equal to a mod n. So these are the two rules related to the Euler's theorem. Of course, the modulus value, if it is prime, we will apply Fermat's theorem. But if it is not a prime, then we have to apply the Euler's theorem. And in this Euler's theorem, the first version says that if a and n are co-prime number, then a to the power phi n will be equal to 1 mod n. But if a and n are not the co-prime number and n is a divisor factor, that is p into q, and a is less than n and k is an integer, then in that case a to the power k plus phi n plus 1 is equal to a mod n. Let us go with an example of these two. The first one is find the value of 6 to the power 24 mod 35. 6 to the power 24 mod 35. So let us find out what is the value of phi 35. Phi 35 is equal to phi 7 into phi 5, and both are prime numbers. So it will be 6 into 4, and that is 24. It means 6 to the power 24 mod 35 is equal to 6 to the power phi 35 mod 35. So this theorem can be applied, first version can be applied, and the value will be equal to 1 mod 35. So it means 6 to the power 24 mod 35 is equal to 1. So let us go with the second one. Second one says, second example is to find out 20 to the power 62 mod 77. 22 to the power 62 mod 77. So let us find out what is the value of mod phi 77. So that will be equal to phi 11 into phi 7. Phi 11 will be 10 and it will be 6, so it will be 60. So it means phi 77 is 60. So we cannot apply the first one, but anyhow we can apply the second one. How we can apply the second one? We can frame this 220 to the power 62 mod 77 as 20 mod 77. We take 120 separate and then 20 to the power 61 mod 77, and then try to apply the second one. How it can be done? This will be equal to 20 mod 77 will be 20, and this will be 20 to the power 61. So we already know that it is phi 77 is 60. So if we consider the value of k is equal to 1 into phi n, yani phi 77 plus 1 is equal to 20 into 20 to the power 61. That is 1 into, we are considering that k is equal to 1, phi 77 is 60, 60 plus 1, that will be equal to 61 mod 77. Now, if we resemble this value with this one, that is equal to A mod n. It means this value is equal to 20 and then mod 77. It means 20 into 20 mod 77. So, it is 20 into 20 means 400. 400 divided by 77, and whatever is the remainder value, that will be the value. So, that value is coming around 15. How it will be coming around 15? If it is 5 times 5 7 ja 35, 5 385. So, it will be equal to, so remainder is 15. So, the value will be 15. So, in this way Euler's theorem can be applied.